In this video, I'm going to cover how and why we can eat carbs and lose weight for weight loss over 40. Hello fam and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal and I'm just an ordinary woman that decided to go on a transformation journey in my late 40s. I want to share what I've learned with you so that you can get in the best shape of your life, and there's absolutely no reason why you can't do that over 40, and if you're like me, over 50. So this video is about carbs and how to eat carbs for weight loss. And to be quite honest with you, I couldn't do without carbs. I'm all for incorporating carbohydrates into our meal plans, and I'm going to go into why. I made this video because I get so many questions about cutting carbs, going on a keto diet, and carbs get demonized a little bit, don't they? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with eating carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are an important part of our diet. They make up the macronutrient mix. There are lots of benefits to eating carbohydrates. I went on a transformation journey and lost 20 pounds and got really lean eating carbohydrates, and there's no reason why you can't do the same. Not everyone wants to get into bikini competitor shape, but lots of us want to lose at least a few pounds or perhaps even 100 pounds. I wanted to make this video so that you can understand how you can incorporate carbohydrates into your lifestyle. I'm going to cover why we should eat carbohydrates, and then I'm going to cover how we can eat carbohydrates, because there is a certain way of doing it that's going to give us the optimum benefit. So why should we eat carbohydrates? Having carbohydrates as part of our diet is going to make it much easier to stick to in the long term. So if we do a diet where we're cutting out a whole food group, it's really hard, isn't it, to stick to that in the long term. What we need to be doing is thinking, when we go on a diet, is this the kind of food that we can eat for the rest of our lives? And if we can't eat that food for the rest of our life or a very long time, you have to think what the long-term benefits are going to be. I know that if you were doing something like keto, yes, you can drop weight really quickly, but you've got to think about what happens when you come off that diet. And often when we do a diet where we're juicing or cutting out whole food groups like carbohydrate, what can happen is we can really easily regain the weight and then some when we go back onto our normal diet. That's the problem with that. But if we're having a diet where, you know, we're still including some of the foods that we enjoy, once we actually go back to maintenance calories, we're much less likely to put more weight on if we've gone down the route of doing a sustainable diet that's good in the long term. Secondly, carbohydrates, we need them for strength training, and I really advocate that women over the age of 40 do strength training. Why? Because strength training, if we build muscle, we're building muscle that we've actually lost through the aging process, and it's going to restore our metabolism because we've lost muscle through things like the perimenopause, the menopause, and even once we sort of hit our 30s, we start to lose muscle, and that's why our metabolism deteriorates. So building muscle is actually going to restore our metabolism, and carbohydrate is a key component of building muscle. We need to eat carbohydrate for performance in the gym or if you're working out at home. Thirdly, I believe carbohydrates just give us general energy for all the activities that we need to carry out through the day. And I know I get a lot of feedback from women, and I've experienced this myself when I've cut out carbohydrates, that I just don't have the energy. That's something that we don't need in our time of life, is it? That we're going to have a lack of energy. So I'm going to move on now to how we can incorporate carbs in our diet if we're trying to lose weight. And it's pretty straightforward, really. I recommend that we look at something between 100 grams and 200 grams of carbohydrates. If you log into something like MyFitnessPal or another macronutrient tracking app, you can see what that looks like. I like to have oats, rice, potatoes. Those are the kind of best carbohydrates. But if you want to eat bread and pasta, that's absolutely fine. But what I find with bread and pasta, it can be really easy to overeat on those, and they're not so high in volume. And, you know, things like oats are sort of slow release carbohydrates, so they keep you fuller for longer. Then I like to look at the timing of carbohydrates. So I explained earlier on that I really like women over 40 to incorporate strength training into their routine, which I like it to be 4 times a week. And the great thing is with carbohydrate, that sort of fuels your body for your workout. So you will find if you eat within an hour of training, you're going to be able to perform your exercises better with strength training, lift heavier, do more, get through your workout. So it's really great for that. So I advise to eat an hour before training, and then for protein synthesis, half an hour, eat some carbohydrates and protein within half an hour of training, and that's really going to help you develop that muscle, which in turn will help you burn fat. And that's what's happened to me, and my meal timings have made me have an absolute transformation in terms of my body shape. Really highly recommend that you try that if that's not something that you're currently doing. And then the final kind of strategy that we can employ is actually carb cycling. So that's increasing our carbohydrate intake on the days that we're in resistance training, but taking them lower. So when I talked about the lower end of the scale being 100 grams of carbohydrate, you might want to do that on your non-resistance training days, and that's going to give you a little bit more of a weight loss, keep your body guessing, and then take your carbohydrates higher on your strength training day. And I kind of take this one step further myself by actually increasing my carbohydrates even further on my leg training days. Your legs and glutes are your biggest muscle groups, so if you put more carbohydrates in on those days, you know, your energy is going to be using all those additional carbohydrates up on leg training days. And if you're looking to join a program where you can eat those higher carbohydrates and incorporate that into your strength training routine, I do have a lean and strong program, which is a strength training and meal plan program, which I've been getting some really positive feedback about the women that are on it, who really like the fact that they can eat carbohydrates and be on relatively high calories and still losing inches. I hope you found that video useful, and please do give the video the thumbs up if you did, and hit the subscribe button and get the bell notification so you find out as soon as a new video drops. And don't forget, you can also give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok, where I give daily updates on all this kind of stuff around weight loss, fitness for women over 40.